what, hey all, and courtesy of our buddy Dragonfly, we're taking a look today at the DNA Design DK38 upgrade kit for Legacy Menasor. I am in the minority in that I'm not a fan of Legacy Menasor. I don't find him as stable as my Combiner Wars version, which I admittedly did do some custom work on the torso with, because stock to stock, yeah, the Legacy is definitely better. But with the work that I did on the Combiner Wars, I struggled to like the Legacy. I find it top heavy. I don't find it super stable to stand up, even though a lot of people do. I find I don't like the whole skeleton and putting clothes on it, though a lot of people do. I admit all of that. But could this kit change my view? Could this kit make me like Legacy Menasor? Can it make that much of a powerful difference? Well, let's find out together in the latest GotBot True review. Hey what, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below, also in the description down below, and if you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the kit. Not much to say. I'm going to grab Menasor off the shelf. We're going to get the kit out. I'm going to get it put on. No, I'm not going to show putting it on here. If you watched my blockies, whatever they're called, video recently, you realize me doing a build on camera ain't going to work. But we will certainly talk about each and every piece in here. Let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this set. And here we have the box for the DK38 DNA Design upgrade for Legacy Combiner Menasor. Woo! Now, like I've said before, I was not a huge fan of Menasor. I like them as Stunticons. I like the set as Stunticons, but the overall Menasor I had a lot of issues with. Now I looked at the Legacy versus my customized Combiner Wars Menasor way back in, well, February of 2023, so 2 years ago in episode 1051. Pretty much right in line with when you're seeing this review, funny enough. Almost 2 years to the day. And I think I'm about 9 years on YouTube now. Wow, where did that time go? I digress. So, this is the new chest in there. It looks very toy accurate, actually. Over on the side, not much there, not much there. And on the back, we see all the bits and pieces that we're going to explore as we go through. I will note now that the only piece that really doesn't incorporate in vehicle mode is the chest. And if you don't want to add extra height to the overall combiner for whatever reason, and if you don't want the cab of Motormaster to be longer, then you really don't need the feet or the thighs. Just worth noting, because some people will say, hey, can I use the rest of it, but I don't want them to be taller. Well, yeah, you can, but if you're going to do that because you don't want the trailer to be longer or whatever, then just realize that you're not really going to have any use for the feet or the thighs at that time. Just something worth noting. Inside the package we get this big double-sided sheet of instructions. Now, I have this thanks to good friend of the channel, Dragonfly, and he said some of this is a bit fiddly and finicky. Some of it takes a little getting used to, and he's absolutely right. But to DNA Design's credit, their instructions are actually quite excellent. And now here we have the trailer with the new extended section. I know that the cab is not transformed into the cab. I didn't want to do it because I'm trying to be expedient. All I did was put down the back part of Menasor. The rest of this is still in Menasor mode, to be honest with you. And there is a flat piece that goes over the original peg that went into the cab. That flat piece moves the peg that goes into the cab up further. I'll show it in a second. But this is the way it will look when it's all together in trailer mode. I do like the extra length on the trailer. I absolutely am shocked, amazed, and impressed with how well the purple paint matches for the line and how well the gray matches the rest of the gray. It's an excellent job, and the plastic feels generally pretty darn robust. Like you can hear my fingernail tap on it. This might be slightly thinner, but not by much. It certainly, when it is tabbed in, it certainly feels robust. Now, earlier I mentioned, hey, what if you didn't, want to add any height? If you didn't want to add any height, then don't change the thighs from the stock thighs, and you will not be able to use these foot pieces. You can use them as feet, but because of the way that they attach into the new thigh pieces without them put on, there's no way for this front section to actually, tab in, right? It needs those new thighs. So either you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, or if you're out for a penny, you gotta be out for a pound. Now, that doesn't mean everything kind of stays tabbed in here perfectly well. I'm going to pick this up, and you'll notice it does stay tabbed into the trailer section pretty darn well. In terms of the trailer section, I mean, I'm just so you know, I'm just folding the back up, and here is Menasor all ready to go again, right? Although I do have his horns down there at the moment. So I'm going to just lay Menasor for now off to the side, and we have the trailer here. Here's what I'm going to note. As it is here, we have a little piece back here, this piece. And this little piece is neat and all, and we're going to use it later by using these pegs when we do the blaster mode and stuff. But this little rectangular tab here is supposed to go up here, kind of between where the two places meet, like where the two arms, I guess, meet. It goes in there. And it's okay, but to say that it stays well would be a lie. It doesn't. It comes out quite easily. And then we have this piece. This piece here is supposed to be up over the old, connection, the old connector that we used. And right now it's staying there, but there's no tolerance for that. I'm not even sure how it's staying there. This is the rectangular piece that I told you about. This is the old peg that was used to connect the cab. And now with this extension, this is the new peg used to connect the cab, which we need because we got this extra space. This, for now, can also come off because it's going to have to come off. We're going to lay those pieces off to the side for now. You will notice I didn't really show them up close because I'm trying to show you where they incorporate into the trailer here. Let's begin at the halfway point, and we're going to take that apart. So now we have two halves here. I'm going to take this half and lay it off to the side for now because that's the more familiar half for the most part. Let's stick with this half here. Now we have to come here to the front. And when we come to the front, we have one little tab here. And we should be able to just open that out and open that out for now. At this point, with these open out, you will notice that we have two thighs here. This is the same location where the original thighs are, but these new ones stick out much, much further. When we undo this, we have a round peg and a rectangular peg here. They go into this slot and this peg hole on the top of the thigh. The stock leg does not have that. So we're going to take that off, and we're going to take that off. At this point, we can fold out a foot, we can fold in a piece there and fold that up, and this is going to be 1 foot ready to go. Same with the other one. We can fold up a foot, fold this in, fold this down, and now we have, boom, 2 feet that are ready to go. We're going to lay those off to the side for now as well. Then we're going to come here, and with this we're going to do as we've always done, and we're going to pick up and pick up and pick up, pick out and pick out, off the side, and we're going to take that piece out of it. This now will become a blaster too, by the way, instead of just hanging off to the side doing absolutely nothing, which bothered me to no end. At this point, I will note that you can bring these sides down and turn this around. Now, it's worth noting that when you do... nope, the other way. It's worth noting a couple of things here before I kind of go on and forget about it later. First, to replace these, there are 2 screws on the inside of the leg on the official that you take out, and then you have to fit this gray piece, which is the combiner peg, into 2 little slots with the spring above it, sandwich these around the mushroom peg here, and then you're going to put 2 screws back in here. Cool, no problem, done on both sides. I don't like removing screws, but I'll give credit where credit is due. These came out and went on fairly easily. Tight thigh swivel once you have it all in, which I like. Then, the waist piece, exactly like the original waist piece, except now we have these 2 pieces that flip down. In order to change it out, you come to the back and you remove 1, 2, 3, and then down here 4, and over right here 5 screws in the back plate. You can take off the front one and put this one on. Cool. It does fill it in a bit, and when you go to truck mode, just note that these little triangular flaps go flipped up. That's all, no big deal. And we have this chest piece. Let's say you didn't want this chest piece. You could just pick it off, and now, yeah, put the new one on. So if you prefer that look, cool, you have the option of doing just that. I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to leave the stock one on for now. We're going to lay this off to the side, and we're going to get to the rear end of the trailer next. And now we have the rear end of the trailer here, which we take apart. And you'll notice down here we have part of a sword, and we have a part of a sword. We also can open up, there we go, open up this side, and we can take out this piece. This is what's going to connect the big gigantic blaster that we make to his hand. We're also going to bring out that foot and slide this piece down and bring it out. We're going to use that for the big blaster later on. And then we're going to go to the other side over here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to open this up, bring this all down. We're going to slide this piece back down and out. And just as before, we separate this and we make it into legs and feet, and this will become part of his blaster. Of course. So we have all of this done. And we're going to take that out of it. And I'm going to lay all of this over here for now. And then that brings us to the last piece here, which I guess is the arms. We take off the hilt of the sword, and at this point you should be able to take the sword and it slides down in there. And now using this peg and this peg hole and this peg hole and this peg, these 2 sword pieces should go together. It's okay, it's not the tightest fit in the world. I'm also going to note at this time that we have a rectangular peg down here. That rectangular peg should be able to take this rectangular slot on this piece, so that you use this as like the peg to sling across his back. It does not like to stay on. I think it's gotten a little bit better. Yeah, that was easier than before, but it does pop off sometimes. Worth noting. Again, I'm just going to lay that off to the side for now. And then we come here and we split. Actually, I guess I should show this. Unlike the stock, where both hands just flip up and you see the back of both hands, this time it's a little different. One hand, an articulated hand I will add, is folded up exactly like we would do with the stock. The other hand is folded so that the fingers are facing out and the thumb is over here to the side. But we should still be able to take them apart and, you know, fold that out and Same thing over here, just to show you, fold that out so that we still have, you know, two arms. Now, that's all the truck apart. I've shown you everything as it comes out of it. There is, of course, the base mode, and I'm kind of just gonna show that because you'll see when we get there. The transformation for it, if you can call it that, is about as straightforward as you can get, really. And so here we have the base mode. This is why I didn't bother to do the transformation to here. The positioning of both legs and both bent arms exactly the same. The positioning of the body and torso exactly the same. These are just laid here. They're not actually incorporated as part of the base either, but I've seen a lot of people who will lay them there as, I don't know, I guess like additional support, I suppose, or I don't know, to bulk it out, I guess. The only things added here is this piece. Oh, you know what? Let's take the rest of this out of it. The only things added here is this piece, and these pieces, really, and this piece here. All of which are going to be used later on in blaster mode. Speaking of which, how about we kind of zoop from here and kind of see Menasor all together. Now, I did say we were going to zoop over to Menasor, but before we do that, I actually do want to show the transformation into the gigantic blaster, because from here, it's actually very simple. I did, however, have to take this piece off and straighten out this peg here. I'm going to tell you now, this is the worst piece in the entire set. This square hole here does not like to stay up under the truck. Trying to put this on here, it does not like to stay. And when we go to blaster mode, it also does not like to stay using these rectangular pegs back here. This is toleranced terribly. Now, all we do here is we take the peg hole off of the peg here, and there's another peg hole right on the very back that we're going to put in. I know it's gone off screen, but now this white piece up here is where we are supposed to put this in above. And like, it'll hold, but it's not holding great. Then we come down here and we fold in this one because it's going to be the one closest to the body. So now we have 3 barrels here and 3 barrels here folded in. Again, you don't really need these if you don't want them. And then lastly, we split these, and this peg that was facing out, you now turn it so that it faces down, and it's going over the edge of, like, right here. So we're going to straighten that up, and we're going to put this in like that. This will actually peg into, essentially, there. Straighten up. Does not want to. This peg here essentially is going to go into the wrist of Menasor, and his hand, all folded up, will go in the dead space under here. Really, this is the key piece. I mean, I guess this is nice. I guess this is okay. I guess these are fine, but you really didn't need any of them. You needed this piece. The rest of it is, it's fine, but it's a little redundant. Gigantic blaster though, love this. Think this is really, really cool. And here we have our big boy all together, basically. The only thing missing now are the these pieces, which are, again, you don't need them, as you can see, right? You don't really need the thighs, as you can see. But if you do want to have the extra section of the truck for Motormaster, you really do kind of need these. Now these, I just want to make sure that I'm putting the right foot on the right that I'm putting the right foot on the right foot. Let me just make sure here that I have these oriented right. That's the one thing about some of this is it's easy to kind of lose your orientation a little bit with the left and the right. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I think this is the way it goes. So, what we should be able to do is basically take this one, and I'm hoping, slide it on over, like that. There you go. You'll notice part of the sword fell off. Remember I mentioned earlier how the sword's tolerance is a little, it could be better. And again, I'm going to show you all that in a second. Let's put this one on next. Basically, you put it on behind the peg here, And then you should, if you have it all lined up right, you should be able to like slide it. There. You should be able to slide it so that now he has big, honking, chunky feet. Now, on the back of the guy, I'm going to note this right now. You see right here, this is the rectangular piece that was used in truck mode. I told you that it likes to come off of this rectangular peg, and indeed it does. These two pieces of sword also like to come apart, but if you use that and you put it in this slot up here, then that's what's slung across his back, like that. We're going to take it out for a second though, because I do want to show it in his hand as well. Now, to put it in his hand, actually I'm going to take the blade off there because it's only going to fall off anyway. To put it in his hand, we open out the fingers, and there is a rectangular slot in the hand and a rectangular tab on the handle, which I presume will go into the hand. Yeesh, I finally got it in his hand, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it was not an easy task. That is a tight fit for that sword. That said, you're gonna get somewhat limited, I guess, mobility with it because of the way the handle is. These pieces, instead of being off to the side, are like vertically up and down. So like pieces of the arm, at least on this arm, from drag strip will hinder you. I don't know if it's the same on the other hand, and honestly, I'm not gonna try putting this in there. I like the idea of the sword. I wish it was executed better. I'm not gonna lie. And I like DNA design. It's just yeesh with that sword. Then we have the blaster, which I guess I will also show now. And this doesn't really, you don't really hold this per se. All this does is there's a peg hole right there, and this peg, this piece that we put on, goes down in that peg hole while the hand goes inside. And that's really how you end up with this blaster. Put that in. That peg should be able to go down there. And like it holds well, you know? I mean it's meant to be two-handed, but like it's fine. I would rather this than having it just be off to the side doing absolutely nothing. That would bug me. So I like the blaster, even though it really has to be dual wielded. I like the idea of the sword, but I don't like the execution of the sword. At least not my copy of it. I think that this will very much be a results will vary. So I'm going to lay both of the accessories off to the side. Like the blaster, not a huge fan of the sword. Then if you didn't want this chest here, now in this mode, you can always fold those down, and you can always pick that off, and you can always put that chest on now in this mode. I'm going to back it up and we're going to do the articulation. Okay, so in terms of look, I mean, regardless of which chest you have on it, yes, it looks like Menasor. It's a 10. Like, it looks like Menasor. I think I said that before. While I have problems with the functionality of this, I mean, it looks like the guy. Let's be realistic. The transformation is exactly the same as it was before, except you have to kind of reorient the hands a little bit. And now you have to slide his shoes on if you want to do that. Other than that, it's really the same. Oh, and I guess flip these triangular pieces down on his hips. I mean, not a big deal. Transformation with the kit on is exactly what it was before. It's fairly smooth, though, to be fair, I still find sliding these on and off over those little sections hurts my hand, and I do find that the sleeves don't like to hold on, and sometimes the knees come out. I don't find they come out as much on these new thighs. Make of that what you will. Okay, so transformation, I won't call it a 10. I'll say transformation's a 9. I'll say the look is a 10. So we'll say he's a 9.5. Let's do the articulation. The head goes left, right. I mean, I guess if you want to untab it, you have some up, not really any down. The horns move. Make sure that's in. The arm can still go all the way around. We still have ratchet way out to the side as we did before. We have the bicep swivel, or I guess it's like forearm swivel really, but it serves the same purpose. Elbow to 90 degrees as we did before. wrist rotation on a ratchet. By the way, when you change the wrists, you take out 2 screws, the wrist comes apart in 2 pieces. There is a little black piece inside. That is what goes over the teeth in here for your ratcheted wrist. If you don't want a ratcheted wrist, you just want it to be, you know, friction, I guess leave that piece out. Same with the pelvis. To get the ratchets on the hips forward and back, there's 2 black pieces that you need to take out and reinsert in the front of the new pelvis. And that gives you the hip ratchets. I digress. Now we have articulated hands fully with fingers that have a knuckle, 1, 2, like individually articulated on 3 hinges. Again, as is the case usually with these hands, and it always bugs me, the fingers are all the same length. That's not the way fingers are. That's why these kits sometimes bug me. The thumb has 1, 2, 3 as well. I mean, they're obviously better hands than the ones that he came with. Duh, that'd be silly to say it's not. We still have our free-flowing waist all the way around, as we did before. Out to the side, we still have those ratchets, as we did before. Bringing this down. Ratchet back, as we did before. Forward, if I pick that triangular piece up, we still have it all the way forward, as we did before. It's just that triangular piece just sort of fills it in a little bit. We still have a thigh swivel, pretty tight thigh swivel. We still have a knee to 90 degrees. And we still have ankle tilt? Do we still have ankle tilt? Or have we lost that now? No, we still have ankle tilt. It's still there. My mistake. Yeah, it's still there. So, and with the bigger feet, I'm going to say this. Now I do feel like he's solid. I've had issues with stability with this guy. Issues with him falling over, even though everybody says he's really stable. I have not found him to be. I have found him to be very top heavy. I wonder if I take that off and I put the stock one back on. Yeah, like, no, with the added, I guess, bulk on the foot, yeah, I very much find he's much more stable. I'm going to say that the articulation is better, if for no other reason than he doesn't seem as top heavy and stable. Obviously, we have better hands, you know? So it's got to score higher. There's nothing he can't really do that I would want him to do. I'm going to give Menasor credit here, and I'm going to say that he is, man, the dude has to be somewhere around, he was getting a 9.5. I'm going to say the articulation's a 9.5. There's not, maybe even a 10. I do think the kit helps the stability. I do think it helps Motormaster. I do think that it helps with better hands. I would have preferred to not have to use the thighs, but if that's the small price I got to pay for a better combiner overall, that's what I'm going to pay. The overall score for the set, I gotta say it's about a 9.5. I think it's an excellent set, and I think that it absolutely adds value to anybody's Menasor in their collection. And here we are once again, and I have the box rather than Menasor because I do want to talk about everything here, and I don't necessarily have everything on him. The sword is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. It's a nice big sword, though I do find this piece down here, the little rectangular piece that's also used for the trailer, does not like to stay tabbed on over the sword very well. The 2 sword pieces, mine fit loose, but Dragonfly said that, you know what, that was something that he encountered as well. He sort of mixed and matched pieces to get 2 good swords from 2 sets that he had. The chest is neat. It's too bad that you can't really leave it on for going to trailer mode. The original chest has to go put on. So if you want a toy accurate look and you're going to leave them combined, maybe use this chest. But if you're going to go transforming him back and forth, maybe this chest won't be for you. Then we have these the two hands are more articulated. Obviously they're better. Simple. The 2 extra feet, I think it's neat that they incorporated his feet. I didn't want the extra height, but I do like the longer truck cab for sure. Speaking of extra height, that brings us to the thighs. Unfortunately, to get the longer truck cab, to use these pieces as part of the truck, you need these thighs on because that's the way it connects. Again, it gives them maybe an inch or so of extra height. Not something I wanted. I like the size, the stock size of the combiners. It makes the most logical sense. Having them be bigger doesn't really make much sense. I get that everything is a bit mushy compared to scale for the animation, but we got to work with what we get. And having the combiners be about a foot tall, yeah, that makes sense in the main line. I get if you're an MP collector, that's a bit different and stuff. The waist piece, not necessary, but cool all the same, and does fill out some pieces. Extra little bits and pieces down here that gives him more firepower. I like that, because when you put him in his combine mode, you just have that leftover truck piece that did nothing. It was a nuisance. At least now it's a great big cannon, and I'm cool with that. Why they didn't do something like that in the beginning, I don't know. What else do we have here that I haven't mentioned? Anything or nothing? I don't think that there's anything here that I haven't... Oh, these two purple, I guess, triple barrel blasters. I mean, they're neat for the combined blaster mode, but again, you got to kind of take them off when you're going to truck mode. So, like, it's okay, but I guess it's a little bit of parts forming. If you don't like that, then you're probably not going to be a fan. That said, did this kit make me like it more? I think that it certainly improves on the Menasor. I think that it definitely makes Motormaster a better Motormaster because the trailer looks to scale. It looks correct, and the color match of the purple and gray is pretty darn good, honestly. I'm pretty impressed with it. Do I think that this is a necessary kit? No, I don't think it's a necessary kit. Do I think it adds value? Yes. I don't know what the price of this was. Is it worth the price? That I don't know. I think I would feel a little bit better, personally, if I was able to use the original thighs, so keep them about the same height, and if I could leave the new chest on all the time. It's good, but I still see ways that it could have been made just a little bit better. Let me know what you think about this upgrade kit. Are you fine with Menasor the way he is? Did you get the kit? Did you like the kit? Did you prefer the kit? Or did you think that it was redundant and unnecessary? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel. And please don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday night, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.